Hello from Crystal in Miami. I'm here today to talk about 4 wonderful voyages we will be featuring on Crystal Endeavour, our brand new Crystal Endeavour, in November and December of 2020. We are sending her to not only one of our, but your favorite destinations, Australia, New Zealand, and we will also spend a lot of time discovering Tasmania. So when you look at the map, you will see that New Zealand is divided into the North and the South Island, and we will be visiting both. Tasmania is often heard about, but actually very few people visit. Sometimes people may have been to Hobart, the capital of Tasmania, but they haven't seen some of the beautiful, beautiful natural wonders that can be experienced in Tasmania. And while talking about the Tasmania itself, there are lots of different islands around the main island of Tasmania. But before we leave the main island of Tasmania, I'd like to talk about Hobart, which is a wonderful city on the south side of Tasmania, has some great pubs, and we actually will be spending the night. From there, you can also explore one of the earliest penal colonies down under in Port Arthur, and that's a short day trip away from Hobart. But in addition, we will explore an island called King Island, which is very famous for 2 things, primarily the production of milk products such as cheese, and also a beautiful little tiny fairy penguin that we hope to explore on this particular discovery. In addition, we will be visiting a place called Rugged Flinders Island, where we'll get in touch with some of the local sheep herders. We'll hopefully get to see some sheep shearing, which is always a fun process if you're not the one being sheared. Then you can also enjoy some of the wildlife such as wallabies and kangaroos and bird life. It is a wonderful expedition. Furthermore, we will head to a wonderful bay on the southeast side of Tasmania by the name of Coal Bay. And in Coles Bay, we will be doing some fabulous hikes in the wonderful Freycinet National Park. Now, moving on from Tasmania, where we usually spend 5 or 6 days to explore in depth, we have also left some time for New Zealand. And of course, most famously, we will definitely include the beautiful fjords of Milford, Dusky and Down, which are natural wonders in its own right, and there will be plenty of time for you to enjoy the various natural sights. And hopefully, if the weather allows, we'll be having some wonderful kayak rides as well as helicopter trips. One of my favorite destinations is the port of Dunedin. Some of the places that you should really not miss is the Royal Albatross colony. There's a wonderful visitor site from where you can see these majestic birds. And they also have a reserve on a little peninsula out there where you can see the very rare yellow-eyed penguins. And you actually have to approach them very carefully. They're wild, it's not a zoo. And you stand behind some hides and you try to spot them. I've seen them every single time, so there's a great chance to see them. And it is a very, very special experience. And then of course you can get up and close to some seals. And if you are less interested in nature, you want some more of the cultural side, there's beautiful Larnac Castle, which is also located on the peninsula. And you can discover beautiful Olveston House. There is a wonderful old train station and a historic train ride that can also be done. And if you're into sweetness, there's a wonderful Cadbury chocolate factory as well. There's enough to do for Dunedin for 2 full days, and it is a great, great experience. As I said, it's one of my favorite destinations in this particular part of the world. We'll also stop by a beautiful and seldom visited Stewart Island, which is ideal for nature walks, zodiac rides, and birding to get in touch with nature. We will be trying to have several places where we can lower our 7-passenger submersible for you to see under the waterline as well. The water will really be too cold for snorkeling, but I think with the submarine, we should have some wonderful experiences there as well. And then, of course, with the helicopter taking you high and above the beautiful fjords and mountains of New Zealand. Another one of my favorite ports is Kaikoura, which is somewhat of a frontier town. It's really it kind of reminds me of Alaska. It's a one-street frontier town. It's a little bit ramshackle. They have some shops, some cafes, but it is fantastic for whale watching. And when you go off on the little boat and you look for those whales and albatrosses, you have the stunning mountain scenery in the background. Or if you want to get off the water, I've done some very beautiful bike rides there to a lavender farm. And don't worry, I spoke about mountains. That lavender farm can be reached on flat terrain, so you don't need to worry about that. Some of the other great things we will be enjoying on that particular trip, we will be heading to Tasman Bay and Marlborough Sound, as well as Queen Charlotte Sound. And in these particular areas, we hope to do a lot of expeditions by Zodiac, those inflatable rafts, for hiking and just scenery. Just enjoy the spectacular scenery up and close from that Zodiac as you go near the shoreline. And then, of course, when we talk about New Zealand, I must talk about wine, the beautiful Sauvignon Blancs from the Blenheim region. And we will have a chance to try these in beautiful Picton, which is one of our stops on this particular itinerary. And one of the most beautiful experiences I've ever done is fly from Picton by helicopters across through the mountains and then settle down into the wine country, get on a bike and head for one of those wineries. It's a really special experience. And we'll be visiting Ship's Cove and a visit to Captain Cook's Memorial by Zodiac, and then we'll go on a beautiful hike through the forest here. And this is an area where Captain Cook really enjoyed being with his ship Endeavour, where he replenished his supplies and where he had a lot of interaction with the local Maoris. In addition, we will be also visiting beautiful places like Napier. Napier has several things to offer. Most famously, there is a wonderful golf course there. So if you like to play golf, the golf course at Cape Kidnappers is spectacular. And also very nearby to Cape Kidnappers, there is a fantastic gannet colony, a very large gannet colony you can visit up and close. If neither one of those things interest you, there's always the great wines to be had from the area around Napier. Wrapping this up, as I said at the beginning, we have 4 wonderful trips. They're all about 12 to 14, 15 days in duration. We know you love New Zealand. If you have never been to New Zealand, we highly recommend these trips because they are in-depth trips. You get to see the main highlights, some of the well-known towns, but also because of the small size of Endeavour, we can explore some really the true beautiful natural sides of Tasmania and New Zealand that you do not get to explore with the big ships. So come and join us on Endeavour and with our Zodiacs explore New Zealand, Tasmania and Australia. Thank you.